how to build a profitable business. Now, here's the deal. There's two types of people on this call. There's people that are entrepreneurs who are currently building a profitable business. The reason you need to pay attention to this is because obviously you're going to be building your own business. If you have a career working somewhere else, the quickest path to making more money at your existing job, without a doubt, is the ability to help your boss grow their business. I mean, this is common sense. You always have to think from the other side of the story. A lot of people go, oh, I want to make more money. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to think, if you have a career, how do you make the person who's paying your paycheck, how do you make them more money? If you can do that, you'll make more money yourself. So this is an important talk for everybody on planet Earth. I wish I had heard this a long time ago on how to build a profitable business. Now, notice I put in the word profitable business because it's very easy to make a not profitable business. It's very easy without knowing to make a non-profit. In fact, if you look at the statistics, at least 90% of people that launch businesses fail, okay? And you don't want to fail too often in life. Everybody has to fail a little bit, but you don't want to be somebody that's perpetually failing. So what are the components that go into building something that has profit? Now remember, I want you to understand, number one here, and I'm going to try to get through as many of these as I can. For those of you who want more, number one thing here, okay, you must understand the language of money. If you want to change your financial situation, if you've plateaued, you have to speak the language of money. And the language of money is not the language of the mainstream world, okay, period. The language that you grew up speaking, I just saw this article in ESPN has a magazine. I didn't even know they had a magazine. It's like Sports Illustrated. And the magazine, can you pull this table a little bit to the right so I don't fall over it? And so he has invented, James Harden, he's a basketball player, plays for the Houston Rockets, and he speaks his own language, like with his friends. They have this word for women, I forget what it is. It's like chugs or something. They're like, hey, you want to go out and meet chugs? I forget the word. But they've invented this whole language so that they can kind of protect themselves when they're out and they don't want everybody to know. Well, that's how the language of business and money is. There's a tremendous amount of words that you're going to have to learn, a new vocabulary. Now, some of the words are words you already know, like profit. Everybody knows what profit means, or they think they know. Okay? But that's not really true. Do you really know the difference between gross profit, net profit, and EBITDA? You know, do you understand the three forms of cash flow that are available to all businesses? It's not as easy as people think. Somebody says, can you guys come? They're saying that angles aren't perfect on the Meerkat and Periscope. So at the end of the day, let's talk about this word profit, because I say how to build a profitable business, okay? What do I mean by profit? Traditionally, the concept of profit is this. It's you sell for this price and it costs you this much, so you keep the difference, right? Yes. But let's go a little deeper than that. Profit, I like the definition that Peter Drucker gives. So Peter Drucker, if you don't know who he is, he's the godfather of business education, really. He's, Harvard Publishing puts out his book. He's dead now, but he spoke of what you need in a business. And there's about 7 things that businesses have to have, 7 objectives. You have to have an HR objective, you have to have an inventory objective, and blah, blah, blah. But one of the objectives he has is profit objective. And he says, why do you need the profit objective? And I'll tell you why. Because it is the fuel to the business. And so whenever you go into a business, you got to ask yourself, are you building a Lamborghini that's never going to get out of the garage? And most businesses are not built around profit objectives. And I want you to be different than the 90% of entrepreneurs who fail. I want you to be different than most of the corporations that are going to peter out. Of the Dow Jones Industrial companies that started in, I think 1880s, There's only one company that's still in existence today, and that company is GE. All the other ones dropped off the planet because they couldn't achieve the proper profit motive. So one thing that I want you to know is that the profit motive is generally portrayed by the media as something negative, okay? And I want you to be able to clear your brain and phase all that out. Nobody with a half a cent use of logic is going to tell me, let's just take something you like. What's your favorite thing that you buy? It could be Game of Thrones. Let's take Game of Thrones. I was actually just watching Game of Thrones last night. I'm almost done with the 5th season. I'm like on episode 7 or whatever. So everybody loves Game of Thrones that's watching, or most people. It's one of the most popular shows. Okay, Game of Thrones, I don't hold me to this number, but I think it cost $6 to $10 million an episode. It's expensive. It's got dragons. It's got high production value. It's got castles, blah, blah, blah. Now, who here hopes that HBO spends $10 million per episode and only makes $1 million back? Nobody. You know why? Because the second that happens, there's no season 6. You don't want there not to be a season 6, especially if you're watching Game of Thrones, because they leave you hanging. You must have an interest in a business that's going to have enough fuel. Now, here's the reason and the problem. We've all been guilted. We've all watched stuff that says these greedy corporations. I get sometimes people asking me, hey, Tai, how come you charge for the 67 steps or the accelerator? Why don't you give everything away for free? And I'm like, well, the person asking that question is asking me an illogical question. They're asking me, Tai, I like what you're doing. Can you make it not sustainable? That's what you're saying. So when you go into business, your primary objective, by the way, shouldn't be profit. It should be, the primary objective of all businesses is number 2. I'm about to get to that. But I wanted to start with this because today's talk is how to start a profitable business. You got to be able to sweep your brain clear of all the misconceptions from news reporters. You remember Occupy Wall Street? Now, Wall Street had a lot of bad things going on. I'm not defending, banks that rob from people and do unethical things. That's not what I'm saying. But I am defending the fuel that's moved the world forward, period. And the world is a better place by every measure, or almost every measure. Women run countries. Black people are presidents. Oprah Winfrey is a billionaire. None of this could have happened even 50 years ago. The world is moving forward. And the primary driver of this, and people don't want to admit it, is economic profit. The second that companies had economic profit, they could reinvest it and grow the business. Is all capitalism good? No. But I just wanted to I want you to, at least for this talk, step back from any misconceptions you have about profit, okay? And observe what we're going to go through here. Now, number 2, what should your primary objective be profit? And the answer, surprisingly, is no. Your primary objective, if you want to build a profitable business and how to start a profitable business, you must have the initial foundational understanding of what you're trying to do. Now, most people, let me tell you, somebody's correcting me. Game of Thrones costs $6 to $8 million an episode. Cool. So I was pretty close. I said 10. And just remember, when they say 6 to 8, they don't release the exact numbers. Just like movies, they give the general budget, but it's oftentimes wrong. Somebody said they're here from Aruba. Cool. All right. What should your primary objective be? So if you came to me today and you wanted a pitch to me, you're like, hey, Tai, I'm going to tell you my business idea. Will you invest in it? What do you think? I get that every day, hundreds, even thousands of emails a day on that type of subject. Here is my answer, where your focus should be. If you want to start a profitable business, this is the teaching of Peter Drucker. You can read his books, Harvard Press. There's a great book called The Essential Drucker. It's the Essential Teachings of Peter Drucker. He says,